Holy, that was a crazy ass game. And I'm glad the Rams won. We'll talk about their fantastic, thrilling victory right now on this post-game reaction episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. Oh my God, Rams Nation. We freaking did it. We freaking did it. But before we talk about the fun stuff, Mark, how you guys doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. We had that game in the bag. Did you ever really have a doubt? It was just cruise to victory, right?
Yeah,
That was a
I was
very
I
it
had
was a
curse
fun
words
game.
all throughout the day as I made sure to make sure I was censored earlier. Get YouTube in trouble here. Or ourselves in trouble on YouTube. That's probably a better way of putting it. But hey, everyone, welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. If you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any video throughout this 2025 season. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only side of things, hey, share this podcast audio with all your friends. Any of those options helps other Rams fans to see our content. And me and Mark very much appreciate it. But oh, baby. Rams win 27-20 versus that Indianapolis Colts team, who many people were like, are they for real? Are they fraudulent? And I think we found out that they're pretty good, Mark. Long story short.
Yeah, and if I'm a Colts fan, I'm probably gonna be waking up 4 or 5 times in the middle of the night asking me
Yeah.
like, "What the hell happened? Why didn't we should have won that game?" Massive headache in the morning. But the takeaway from their perspective is that they are for real. They're a very good football team, and these 2 teams went toe to toe. Very entertaining game. Some
Yeah.
strange things happened, obviously, but, Rams figured it out and came from behind and won. So, man, obviously thrilled to get to 3-1. Good time to be a Rams fan this afternoon.
Yes. And after Indianapolis Colts defenders talking crap about fake crowd noise there at SoFi Stadium, and if I'm blanking on his name exactly, Mark, help me out here while I'm talking about it. I saw tons of Rams fans that were taking that to heart. We're out there at the stadium. We're talking crap, talking loud, screaming loud at the appropriate times. And for anyone who hasn't been to SoFi Stadium, yes, it is quote unquote an outdoor venue. It is not completely dome sealed off like the Superdome in New Orleans or the Viking Stadium or wherever else where there's enclosed stadiums. Now, the Rams have what I like to call a tent setup stadium where there is a roof, but it is open on all sides for air, from the outside to, come in freely. But with there still being a roof, all that crowd noise is not being, escaped into the atmosphere of planet Earth. It is ricocheting, if you know your science with reverberation with sound, it is ricocheting off that hard surface on the SoFi Stadium roof and reflecting reverberation going back into the field, into the crowd. So for anyone out there who is like, they pump crowd noise, the NFL has people on staff go to every game, and they have people checking in on not only the field operations to make sure no one's cheating or trying to get a advantage. They also are in the media room for the stadium media, I guess, department, showing all the graphics on the big boards, the replays, the scoreboard. There are people in the room from the NFL checking in on that group of people to see if they're doing anything mischievous, crowd noise, altering the timeouts, altering the play clock, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Atlanta Falcons are the most recent team to get caught up pumping crowd noise into their stadium, and they got caught, and they ate those draft picks and that, heavy fine. So if the Rams were doing that, for any doubters out there, they would have been caught. The NFL doesn't give a damn. They fine players and coaches and anyone for ridiculous stuff all the time, they would have no problem finding any team, let alone the Rams, if they were pumping crowd noise. Right, Mark?
Yeah, I just realized what Quentin Lake's tweet was about. I saw that and I was like, what is he talking about? He tweeted, sounded pretty loud in the stadium to me with the
Yeah.
and I didn't quite get it, and now I remember. You just reminded me.
Yeah.
I think it was a Colts defensive back that was kind of taking taking a shot at the Rams and their fan base. So yeah, it did seem loud. Watching on TV, it did seem loud. It's hard to tell on sitting in the living room, but I think Ram fans really showed up today.
Yeah. And look, for everyone out there, every NFL broadcast, they are required to implement a very, very low volume of crowd noise for the TV production. They always do that, no matter what team it is. That's just the truth on that. For anyone out there, that's all. No, 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 the crowd noise, crowd noise. TV productions do it for the TV audience, all of us watching at home. If you were not live at the game in SoFi Stadium, every broadcast, CBS, Fox, NBC, Amazon, YouTube, whoever else, NFL Network, whoever else I'm forgetting and blanking on, they all do that little small volume of crowd noise. Again, for the TV audience, for the crowd audience at SoFi. Sorry, Cam Bynum.
Cam Bynum,
Nope.
that's it.
There you go. No fake crowd noise there. So I just wanted to point that out after I read a bunch of BS on that, and a lot of people got riled up. And I did too a little bit. And I'm glad, again, shout out to all you at SoFi Stadium. I wish I could have made the game, but I'll be there for the Thursday night game. I'll see you guys there. Anyway, as we move on to the game itself, Mark, how about that freaking first quarter, right? Where Colts get the ball first, and then Danny Dimes, more look like Danny Pennies on that drive, just threw a really terrible deep ball pass, and Cam Curl had an interception turnover right off the bat. I was like, oh, baby, we're in it for a good day at that point, right, Mark?
Yeah, he kind of floated that pass, and I think
Yeah.
the later interception, kind of the same thing. Just it looked like a Russell Wilson moonshot, but
But
ill-advised,
not
and
good. Yeah.
yeah, but not good. But
Yeah.
not. But you know what? But I have to say, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more later on or another
Yeah.
day. But I really like Daniel Jones as a quarterback overall. I think I would be happy if he was my quarterback. It maybe didn't have his best game today, got a couple of bad throws, but he kind of scares me when he's back there from a Rams defensive perspective.
No, I mean he's got the talent. I don't think that's even a debate. But we benefited from a Danny Pennies, no Danny Dimes sighting on that drive. So we're cooking, right, Rams Nation? Great. We get the ball. Cam Curl has a decent, solid return actually, and then hey, we're chucking away. Williams runs the ball good. Nakua catch here. Williams run there. Nakua catch here. Boom, 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 and we're like, okay, we're doing well. Then we start getting the dumb penalties, Mark, where it just puts us in a bad situation. We're in 1st and 20, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and then we have to kick a field goal. And I was like, dang it. I wish we would have done much better. And then field goal, right? 3-0 at that point. Then the Colts get the ball. They have some explosive as freaking Tyler Warren. It'd be nice to have our rookie tight end make some plays, right, Mark? He has an explosive play. Then boom, boom, boom. It's like, holy crap, man. They're in field goal range. But luckily, they have some of their holding penalties, and then they kick a field goal. Then the Rams get the ball back, have a drive, but then they stall out, man. Just some incompletion here, pressure up the gut there, pressure on Stafford here, and then they're unable to, complete anything on that 3rd and short. And then hey, the first quarter's done. Kind of happened in a flash, Mark. It was weird. Then you're tied up 3-3, and I was like, that went by really quick.
Yeah, and I think what some of the calls, especially the one on Higby, the holding call, I thought that was really ticky tack. I
That
think
was lame.
that kind of set the tone for the whole game. I'm not saying the Rams benefited or were hurt more by the calls than the Colts, but I felt like the referees were overly involved in this game, calling things a little tight. There are some questionable calls going both ways that really kind of you know diminished the entertainment value. Of course,
Yeah.
There was a couple of calls that really helped us, obviously.
Yeah, we'll get to
So I'm
those.
not going to complain about the refs, but the call on Higby, they could have let that one go.
Yeah, and then let me back up real quick. I thought this was the second quarter, but my memory, as I just remembered in my head right now. Okay, to end that first quarter there, 4th and 1, we run a
Oh yeah.
quarterback sneak with Matthew Stafford. Mark, Rams Nation, that's the second week in a row where we've had a 4th down run play. That was stupid. I'm sorry. We do not want Matthew Stafford quarterback sneaking on a 4th, and it really wasn't 4th and 1. It felt like 4th and 1.5, to be honest with you. It was a long. You hear that term, Rams Nation, from other TV broadcasts if you're watching other games. It's like it's a 4th and a really long one, right? It's not necessarily 2 yards, but it's almost at 2. It felt that way. It looked that way, and I knew immediately that he didn't get it. And when they ruled that it was a 1st down, I was like, well, if Shane Steichen's got any brains, and I know he does, I was like, he's going to challenge us, and we're going to lose, and we're going to lose that 1st down, and he's going to win that challenge. And that's what happened. But Mark, these 4th down play calls suck. And luckily we overcame it. But I mean, man, there's just so many better plays, and we saw better plays later. We'll get to those. But 2 weeks in a row in a critical 4th down, I really could have screwed the Rams royally in this game. No pun intended. Man, a quarterback sneak. Are you in favor of that, dude, with Stafford right now? If not a
No.
goal line quarterback sneak, not a 4th and 1 at midfield, right? I mean, damn.
Well, when you have a guy like Kyron who is just excellent at wiggling for 2 yards, and then we've used Puka in those situations with a little, I don't know what you call it. I'm not going to call it a jet sweep, but a similar
Yeah,
type play.
jet sweep, jet sweep. That's
Yeah,
right, though. Yeah,
and to back up one play, something that got overlooked is, the previous play before that was the pass to Higby, and he got a really bad spot. It should have
yeah,
been 4th and a half or 4th and a short one. Instead, it was
yeah.
4th and a long one. So that kind of set up that situation. But yeah, no, I don't know. Given his value to the team, number one, and
I
the
know, dude.
fact that he's had some back issues, and then you got Puka and Kyron, um, that you can
And
go to
Blake,
in
we'll
that
get to Blake too a
situation.
little bit later, but
Yeah, and Blake,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, look, that was a dumbass play call, and Sean McVay has some dumbass moments, and that was one of them. Let's just be honest about it. Love Sean; he's a great coach, greatest Rams coach ever. Wouldn't trade him for a lot of people in the NFL. Maybe Andy Reid in his prime or a couple years ago. Maybe that's a debate. I still take Sean for age and youth and all that stuff, but that was a dumbass play call, and we suffered for it. Because then, okay, now we're gonna jump to the second quarter, Rams Nation, as I remember that dumbass 4th down call. Colts get the ball at a decent field position, right? Then they start chucking away. 5 yards here, 6 yards here, 10-yard pass, 6 yards there. Then Jonathan Taylor has a fantastic chunk run, right, for about 12, 15 yards. Then another run, and then another short, short, short. Then they're in the red zone there. And then Tyler Warren on a fullback dive on 4th and 1. I was like, son of a gun, dude. As they were probably going to get the 1st down anyway, and it was going to be a new set of downs, right, in that 2-yard range. But of course, he barreled in and got in. And that's when I was pretty irritated, not only for our 4th and short play call, but then their rookie tight end is not only catching passes and getting open in the passing game and blocking well, he's also getting handoffs and scoring tough ground and pound touchdowns. I was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, you're kind of talking about two different things here. One,
Yeah, I know.
but the one thing that I think the point you're trying to make is Terrence Ferguson. What the heck's going on with him, right?
Well, yeah.
And and I'm hoping that it's just a situation with banged up offensive linemen. They didn't want to have two of those guys inactive, so they had to find someone else to be inactive, keep more offensive linemen available, especially with Steve Avila. I don't know what happened with him.
Yeah.
So they had to keep. I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm hoping this isn't. We're getting into that territory of talking about he's a bust or just not going to work out for this team. But you would hope that he would be at least on the field at this point because it's not like Colby Parkinson and Yeah, David Solom's had a couple moments. Only 3 catches going into this game, though, and
Yeah.
Tyler Higbee is what he is. He's not gonna, make splash plays for your offense. So, yeah, to watch Tyler Warren, impacting the game while Terrence Ferguson is inactive, it does kinda suck.
Yeah, we would like to have a fullback. Remember, we had Ben Skoranek, and even, I mean, Jordan Whittington has some fullback responsibilities in the run game, which we saw some of that stuff today, and he's good at it. And Nakua has been good at it too, but that just irritated me. Bad fourth down play call on our side, and then their fourth down play call is a fullback dive run play with their rookie tight end. I was like, this is a double whammy. F you to the Rams. But hey, Rams get the ball back after that. Then they have a long drive, Mark, where they're chucking away, right? 3-yard run there. Then Nakua again, who just gets open. I mean, we'll talk about him more in depth afterwards. 14-yard pass there. Then a nice run with Blake Corum, as he is really good at those outside zone runs, Mark. Those stretch runs, whatever you want to call them. It's an outside zone run play. Linemen are zone blocking to an area, and whoever shows them the area, get them out of the way. And it's up to the running back to find them. Blake Corum's really good at that. So we had some nice runs in that respect. And then Nakua had a really great deep pass. Remember that deep kind of like out route almost, or a deep comeback route? I'm blanking exactly on it, where Nakua had a 31-yard pass mark on 3rd and 5. And I was like, okay, starting to cook. We're getting things going. But then, of course, man, the Rams are just really bad at capitalizing on the moment sometimes. So they had that penalty on Xavier Smith where there was a good run by Kyron Williams there, right? It was an unnecessary hold by our, our 5th, 6th wide receiver there. Then we're just in a bad spot. 1st and 10 or 1st and 20, excuse me. Then we can't get anything going. And then there's more bad plays, right? A short screenplay to Corum that gets blown up by DeForest Buckner. And then we're in 3rd and a gazillion, and then we have to kick a field goal. But it was just another wasted opportunity at that point, Mark. I was getting pretty frustrated. Yes, we were only down 10-6 at that point, but I was like, dang it, man. Every time we get to that red zone or in the red zone or nearby it, anytime red is in the vicinity of the Rams scoring opportunities, there's just bad crap that happens. And at that moment, I was like, gosh, dang it.
Yeah, I would love to dig up some stats on how many holding first down holding calls the Rams have
Yeah,
in
it's
the
a
red
lot, man.
zone. It seems like over the last 3 years, as good as this team has been, there have been, I'm going to guess, 7 or 8 drives over the last 3 seasons that we had a first down in the red zone. And the first down play, we had a holding call, and we end
Yeah,
up kicking a field goal over and over. We had two here in the first half with the Higbee hold and
yeah,
the Xavier
brutal.
hold.
Yeah, it's brutal. So be it. We're alive, 10-6, and then hey, Colts get the ball back, and then they have a drive that stalls. They have their own penalties. They have their own completions. They're in 1st and 20 situations. With hey, any offense, it's tough, man. Then they just basically concede, run a little run play out of shotgun to Taylor on 3rd and 20, and then we get the ball back. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens, right? The punt was fantastic. Remember that? That's the one where it laid in at what is that? The inside the 5-yard line around there, if my memory serves me correctly. And the punter, Sanchez is celebrating. And it's like, dang it, man. Well, let's see if Matthew Stafford's got some late, half heroics, and let's see what happens. But I was like, man, we're gonna have to drive pretty dang freaking far. As yeah, at the 4-yard line, that's where he got it. And I was like, gosh dang it. So at that point, Mark, I'm like, okay, 10-6. If we at least get a field goal, I'll feel decent about it. But our team's good enough to score. So 5-yard pass there. Nice run there. Incompletion. And that's when Nakua had another 20-plus yard catch. And I was like, okay, we're getting some good momentum. Some incompletions there. And that's when Devontae Adams came open on that deep out route to the right of the field. Remember, he kind of juked a couple guys out and he got open. It was more kind of like an out, almost like a curl comeback route. If my memory serves me correctly, on 3rd and 10. I was like, okay, Stafford's cooking right now. He's throwing. He looks accurate. He looks confident. The O-line's holding up for the most part. Then, hey, another pass, short to Nakua. And Nakua's just getting open. It's ridiculous. And then Higbee finally exploded, right? Puka ran that short kind of curl comeback, stop route, whatever name you like. And then Tyler Higbee was open on that seam route for like 16, 17 yards, if you remember that, Rams Nation. And it was boom on that 2nd and 1. I was like, oh, okay. We're doing good right now. Stafford's feeling it. Then we took a really bad sack from Laiatu Latu. Shout out to him being an LA, UCLA guy and someone that, me and Mark wanted way back when. But hey, we'll take Jerry Verse. It worked out for the best. And that's when I was like, see, man, we get to a good spot at field and then just some BS happens, Mark, to your point and to our point earlier. Then Matthew Stafford had another fantastic 17-plus yard, completion to Nakua, which would be a first down, 1st and goal there. And I was like, oh my God, thank God, man. Incompletion. Time is weaning down, man. We're about 10 seconds left. And then Matthew Stafford in 2nd and goal with 7 seconds left finds Devontae Adams running that in or dig route as Chardavius Ward, their best corner, was on him. And he looked around for the flag, but no, sorry, you former 49er. You got beat by 17, a future Hall of Famer. And I was like, thank freaking God. And Stafford didn't play his greatest. The O-line was not good that entire half up until that drive. But in a clutch moment where the quarterback needed to be on point, pass catchers needed to be on point, Mark, and everyone just needed to come together, have great synergy. They were clutch and got a fantastic, dramatic touchdown to end that half. And I was feeling good going to halftime at that point, Mark.
Yeah, when we forced the punt, I was texting with my special assistant. I was like, all right, let's double up on these guys, a score before halftime, and then get the ball back at the start of the second half, score again. And then when we got the ball at the 6-yard line, I wanted us not to do anything stupid, burn some clock, and not give them time. And they were so aggressive, and I have to give McVay and Stafford credit. They had made no bones about it. They're going to try to drive the field and score, and they did. And man, that was just such a critical drive because, especially given that the third quarter ended up being pretty dry for us. So that was a big touchdown.
Yeah, it was. So let's get to that third quarter, Rams Nation, as we get the ball to open the second half, and it was just duds. That whole beginning of that drive. And I was like, gosh dang it, man. Incompletion there. The Rams O-line was not holding up well. And then one of the biggest plays of the game happens not too long after. Colts get the ball back, right? 6-yard pass to set them up in a decent spot, 3rd and short. And then Daniel Jones makes a good deep pass where Adonai Mitchell, the deep threat receiver that was drafted to be that guy, filling in for Alex Pierce, who was out with a concussion this game. He makes a fantastic adjustment to the ball, and Daniel Jones threw it to a good spot, let's be honest, where he completed to the inside. Emmanuel Forbes just totally got lost. I mean, he looked really bad on that play. Tried to make the tackle, couldn't make the tackle. The safeties can't run down Mitchell as he is a speedster. That is his specialty. And this guy, I can't believe we're still seeing this in professional football, everyone. He goes to celebrate, to do his own little Deion Sanders, Deshaun Jackson, ha, 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 hold the ball out one hand, and the dude fumbled it touchback, which would have been an amazing 56, 60-yard touchdown, ends up being Rams get the ball back after a dumb, boneheaded celebration that went awry from Colts wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. And the way he went to say, holy, beep, to recover the ball, he didn't try to fight it with the refs saying like, no, I crossed it. He knew right away that he screwed up. Colts teammates went down there to be like, no, you scored. And he was like, nah, bro, I didn't. And review, Rams get the ball back. I couldn't believe that happened, Mark. What a boneheaded play that was. And we benefited from that greatly. I mean, that saved us from a very bad sequence from opening half to a touchdown from our opposing team. We got lucky, dude.
Yeah, and that would have been, if I'm not mistaken, his first NFL touchdown.
Oh, man,
So
brutal.
he'll have to wait. I don't know, man. I'm a softie. I felt horrible for him. I really did. But he'll learn from it, and you could tell from his body language right away. You could tell
No,
from
he
his
knew,
body
dude.
language, yeah. But A guy that came out of the draft with a bunch of speed, and I think Scott Richmond and I talked about him, what he might do for this Rams offense. But my takeaway was when that happened, I was texting someone. I said, if we lose this game, we can't look back and say if this had happened or this that had happened, because we got
Yeah,
one of the biggest breaks you can possibly get
dude. Yeah.
on that play. So very fortunate.
I mean, we are so damn lucky, Rams Nation. Let's not kid ourselves there. If he just runs in like any other touchdown, 99% of players do. It's a touchdown, no doubt about it. And Emmanuel Forbes and the whole secondary got cooked. It was bad, but he made an even worse decision trying to be ha 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 about it. And he just totally butterfingers lost the ball as he was trying to showboat. I mean, I can't, Mark, I cannot believe we still got guys doing stuff like that and just not securing it in. The NFL's pretty lenient with your touchdown celebrations. Obviously, there's certain things you'll get in trouble for or get fined for, I should say. But like, get in the end zone, and then you can do all your crap talking and showboating. Then Sean McVay's really adamant about that, you know. And hopefully, we never see a Rams player under the McVay or do some crap like that. I don't think that'll happen, but I'm so shocked that a player did that and that happened. But ha,
Yeah, you can shake your booty after scoring a touchdown, but just don't flex and point towards the end zone after a first down catch like
yeah. But
Michael Pittman's.
apparently you can't flex muscles after a first down. You
Right.
know,
Right,
bunch of
exactly.
BS from the Eagles game, whatever. That was ridiculous. I'm still irritated about that taunting call. But onward we go. What did the Rams do with that fumble? Nothing. They did nothing. Neither did the Colts after that. Neither did the Rams after that. Neither did the Colts after that. And neither did the Rams, as they all had multiple 3-and-outs after that fumble. Both teams had the ball 2-3 times after that, and they were just stalling. The Rams O-line was pass protecting really bad, Mark. But at that same time, though, I was getting frustrated with the fact that the run game was working well, though, and Sean still wanted to drop back and pass a bunch. And this is where I get to where, if you follow me on Twitter X, I'll sometimes say, well, we're getting a Sean McVay special game where the run game's working, and instead of sticking to it more times than not, we're going to pass, pass, pass. And I get it. You have Stafford, you have Nakua, you have Devontae. I get it. It's tempting to throw the ball, but when the run game's working, Sean, and this is a negative of him, he has a tendency to just lean into the pass. And that was happening that whole rest of the third quarter, Mark. I was getting pretty dang frustrated. I was like, run the damn ball to extend drives. But nope, we threw it. O-line wasn't holding up well. And 3-and-out, 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 3-and-out multiple times after that.
Yeah, and Kyron was running like a maniac. I
Him and
mean, the
Corum were
stiff
running good,
arms.
Mark. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Kyron when he plays with an edge, man, and it's so fun to watch him. The straight arms and just using his hands to push off defenders and getting
Yeah.
those extra yards. I think he is so underrated by the national media.
Yeah.
All you got to do
Yeah.
is watch him. You got to see him play more than just the stats to appreciate what kind of player he is.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. And he deserved more carries in that third quarter. And maybe we don't have to have many heart attacks the rest of the game afterwards. But that didn't go down like that. As to start the fourth quarter now, the Colts, after again, Colts and Rams had a gazillion 3-and-outs, which was crazy. This is where the Colts really start to cook on offense for them. Michael Pittman gets really involved. He has a big catch here, a big 17+ yard catch there. Jonathan Taylor's chucking away 5 yards there, 5 yards here. And then, of course, the Colts get a huge play again to Tyler Warren to get them into the red zone. And at that point, I was like, son of a gun. Again, we're going to get Tyler Warren, a rookie tight end, in our face doing well. And then Jonathan Taylor, play action fake. And then Daniel Jones finds Michael Pittman pretty dang open on a one-on-one situation with Emmanuel Forbes. As you know, Emmanuel Forbes at that point was having a really bad day, Mark. And for NFL standards, Michael Pittman was really open on that first and goal situation. And I was worried at that point when the game was now, 17-13 after we blew it multiple times earlier with 3-and-out, 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 3-and-out.
Yeah, and the Colts were being very successful very efficient, and I felt like the whole game, they kind of got away from Jonathan Taylor more than I thought they would as well.
Yeah, them
You
too,
know, I
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they should have featured Jonathan Taylor more, and I'm wondering if their game plan was, after seeing what the Eagles did in the second half to the Rams secondary, that they were going to. I mean, Taylor still got his touches, obviously, and made some plays,
Yeah.
but I thought he went from being the centerpiece of their offense to just another guy on this day, anyways.
Yeah, to that point, I mean, hey, Rams were doing a decent job, and there was open areas in our zone coverage where Tyler Warren, Pittman, and then we're eating, and we paid for it on that one. And that's why I was like, ay, 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 man, we're running out of freaking time here. As the very next series, we get a Kyron Williams fumble. Now, is it a fumble where he was running the ball and he got the ball punched out or stripped or ripped out of his hands? No. Yes, their nickel corner came. I'm blanking on his name right now. Apologies, or whoever that was.
So
Yes,
I think it
defender.
was Hilton. Was it Hilton?
I think you
Mike
might be
Hilton?
right. Yes,
Right.
he came in unblocked and he hit the handoff mesh point at the right time. But when they replayed it, Kyron Williams slightly juggled that handoff as Stafford really had to stretch out on that outside zone stretch run, which was like, uh-oh. So at the very beginning, even before the handoff was completed, it was already not in a great situation. And then, of course, Kyron gets pumped. He does the whole arms flailing in the air. The ball flies up. It was like a damn cartoon, Mark. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. And, of course, Colts get the ball back. And I'm not kidding. At that point, I was like, yeah, the Rams blew it. They really blew it. The Colts are going to have to equally blow it for us to make a comeback. And at that point, I was like, Jesus freaking A, dude. I couldn't believe that happened, Mark. And on a handoff, they fumbled that.
Yeah,
Brutal.
that was an ugly play, and I'm going to give Kyron a half a pass. I mean, there was it was a messy exchange. I think I'm wondering if he looked up and saw what was about to happen and
Yeah.
didn't focus on securing the ball. So that's a little bit on him, but that's a tough situation to put a running back in. But yeah, he should have hung on to the ball. But I think his overall play outweighed that in this game, in my opinion. He was a maniac with the ball in his hands, and it's unfortunate because he's worked a lot at securing the ball, and up to this point, he's really improved in that regard. So
Yeah.
I'm certainly not gonna put be on high alert for Kyron Williams fumbles moving forward.
Yeah, but hey, that's just another moment where you're like, hey, you were a part of that run play, man, and you coughed it up. And again, I agree with you. It's half him, half the handoff being wacky in general, but still, it's just unfortunate that it was him. But luckily, with the Colts getting fantastic field position, I was like, Jesus, they're going to score no touchdown. It's done. The Rams defense benefited from the Colts having an offensive penalty. I think, what did they have? A holding? Or was it? Oh, I think it was offensive PI, right, Mark? And they're in, 1st and 20, and they can never recover. So they end up kicking a field goal, which only put them up by 7. And I was like, holy crap, we got so damn lucky at that point, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, they got the ball at the 16-yard line.
Yeah.
So, if you can hold them to a field goal, obviously, that's a big win for our defense, and they did kinda shoot themselves in the foot. But, defense did their job, and that was critical. They got a touchdown there. This
Yeah, it's done,
recording
probably,
probably
dude.
has a certainly different tone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, Rams are alive. They get the ball back, but then they have a really crappy, again, another penalty in crunch time on the kickoff, right? Xavier Smith had a decent return, but that gets backed up. And it was like, geez, the freaking wheeze, man. But here we go. Matthew Stafford conducts another clutch drive. 10-yard pass here. Then he takes a sack, and I was like, oh, gosh. Then another completion to Nakua here. And this is where, hey, shout out to Kobe Parkinson. He gets a lot of dirt, but he was open. He made his catches, and he got critical 9 yards here, 10 yards there. The run game is working out well. Then we have another holding penalty, man. I mean, look it. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to the whole line, Rob, everyone, they're just not performing up to their standard right now. I know I just gave him a shout out for just grinding it out, but let's be honest, whether Kevin's ankle is not right or Rob Havenstein, his age is catching up to him, or he's banged up with his ankle and whatever else. I mean, they have not looked good for weeks now, in my opinion. They just have not been blocking well. So Kevin gets a bad penalty. Then thank God Devontae Adams comes through on a deep pass. If remember that deep left one, I mean, he
Right.
totally got Xavier Howard on that one on that 2nd and 14, cooked him on that deep out route. That was beautiful. And then he got some more yards after catch there. And I was like, oh, thank God we got bailed out of that, Mark. Then we have another penalty, right? Where at first I thought, is that on us right here, dude? I can't believe it. But then thank God it was finally on the Colts, Mark, as they had a pass interference penalty on who was that? Tutu Atwell. So hey, there's your 10 million right there thus far, Rams Nation. Tutu Atwell getting a PI on us, or PI for us, I should say. Then we get another completion there, but then another bad penalty by Kevin. And at that point, I was like, why can't we get out of our own damn way? As I believe at that point, it was Kevin Dotson was an illegal man downfield. And for anyone unfamiliar with that rule, in any pass situation, linemen cannot be more than 3 yards, or they can't be 3 yards or more down the field. They have to be less than 3 yards down the field, because, pass protection gets a little wacky and everyone can just stay where the ball is snapped. But he was clearly 3 yards or more down the field, and that wipes it out. Then we're in 1st and long again. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Then on 2nd and 13, Mark, if you remember that, where Devontae Adams and Jordan Whittington, they were both lined up on the left of the field. It was a screen pass to one of them. I guess we'll find out later who that was for. Both of them go up the field to kind of like either block like Devontae was doing, and then Jordan Whittington was like running a dummy route to kind of get guys out of the way. And I was like, we just cannot get out of our way. I couldn't believe it at that point, Mark.
Yeah, that was ugly. That was ugly. And I think the Rams have been in this situation a handful of times where, their drives just peter out. Maybe I just remember the bad ones more than the good ones, because I know Stafford's had some clutch drives as well. But
Yeah,
I did not have a good feeling about our chances at that point.
me either.
Good things were to come, though.
Yeah, 3rd and 13. Then we say, okay, Nicole, we'll run a screen to you. You're really good at that. And then he gets tackled 4th and short. And I'm like, okay, we got to go for it here. I was totally in favor of McVay saying, screw the field goal. We got to get touchdowns. Time is running out. We got to get something going here. And then a good play call. Nakua wide to the left. Devontae Adams ran straight up the field to clear the area, right? Because everyone's going to be worried about Devontae as a red zone threat, which he has been. He's been good. He clears out multiple defenders, and then Xavier Howard was, I thought, playing way too far off in that 4th and short situation. Excuse me. And Nakua just ran a nice, clean slant route. He was as open as could be, hit it, and then Nakua just being the yards after catch master that he is, barrels into the end zone. And we got a tie game, Mark. Whew, I was feeling so much better after that. I was like, holy crap, we have a chance. I can't believe it. But I just want to highlight this real quick. You had catches from Devontae. You had catches from Nakua, of course, as he killed it all day. But then you had the tight ends getting involved. You had Colby Parkinson having some critical catches. I want to shout him out as he gets a lot of flack, as I mentioned earlier. And while there was some bad moments from the O-line, at the critical downs, they held up, and then Stafford was accurate, and he delivered with a clutch drive in a very, very significant moment in the game, Mark. Things meshed together. The synergy was there on that drive, just like it was before the half, where they needed it.
Yeah, and I have to ask, how nervous were you on that extra point there?
You know what? I was riding high after the Nakua touchdown. I was feeling good about it. Now, not that I didn't think about it at all, but I was like, I think I can make it. There was no issue. The Colts weren't penetrating. The blocking up front was much better. And I know, again, to hold myself accountable, I did pick the Rams to lose game because I thought a kick would be the reason that they would lose this game, as it had been an issue 2 games in a row. But at that point, to your question there, I wasn't thinking of that hardcore, and I'm glad that didn't pop up. Well, I would have lost my mind if something
Yeah,
would happen on that PAT.
Cardi's kicks, every single one of them looked really true to me.
Yeah.
Split the uprights, solid kicks. So that's something to be a little bit happy about moving forward for sure, because I know we were all sweating bullets about that after
Yeah.
last week.
I was for sure. And then, hey, tie game 20-20. And I'm like, holy crap. Can the defense get a freaking stop? Not necessarily like, hey, don't blow it and blow a touchdown, obviously. But I was like, hey, can we keep them out of the red zone from kicking a late field goal where we have to, go down with a minute 30 and it's just a chaos? So Rams kick off. Then here we go. Tyler Warren making big plays. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right off the bat, Mark? And I was like, gosh, dang it. But luckily, the Colts screw up a bunch. They have their own penalties, right? Holding penalty here, false start there. And then on Jonathan Taylor's what seemed like impossible game-winning go-ahead touchdown late in that game, Adonai Mitchell 1,000% held Darius Williams, our corner, on that play. The jersey was tugged, and D-Well did a bad, crappy basketball job of selling the push-off on A.J. Brown the week before. Well, he sold this one pretty good on that holding call. As no doubt about it, it was holding, but D-Well sold it extra good on that one. And when Jonathan Taylor was running down the field and bulldozing guys, and then when he spun out of the tackles, I was like, of course, right when they needed it, right when we thought we held Jonathan Taylor in check for most of the game, he breaks one out. But thank freaking God when I saw that there was a holding call and all the Rams defenders were like, yeah, that's on you guys. I had the biggest sigh of relief, Mark. Thank God. But man, Adonai Mitchell, 2 crucial plays where unnecessary actions cost his team touchdowns, man. Brutal.
But do you think Darius would have made that tackle if not for the?
Probably not, but we should have got Taylor down anyway. So I would have had a mini heart attack on that, thinking, gosh dang it. Of course, Taylor finally got us on that. But Adonai Mitchell, man, an unnecessary holding call or unnecessary hold in that situation, tugging on the jersey, cost his team a touchdown there, man. So then, hey, now we're in 1st and 15. And then a couple plays later, Jared Verse came through, totally smoked the right tackle, strip sack. And, I was so pumped up at that point, Mark. And I was like, dang it, we couldn't get it back. That was a play we needed. But, hey, someone who says, I need to make more plays in a clutch situation, your former defensive rookie of the year for a second week in a row has a clutch moment, strip sacking a quarterback. And at that moment, Mark, I was like, holy crap, we're going to have a chance to win this game. As 3rd and 28, Mark, they just, basically conceded running a play with Jonathan Taylor, and then we get the ball back after that. But I mean, Mark, your thoughts when Jared Verse got the sack and then we got the ball back right shortly after that?
Yeah, our 2 edge rushers are developing that ability of, you're on the sideline like we used to have with AD, like AD's going to make a play here. He's just going to make a play.
Honestly.
And the what was a little comical was I don't know if you saw the replay, the running back, it wasn't Taylor, another running back was in for pass pro, and he was blocking ghosts beyond the offensive line. And compare that to Kyron Williams blocking today. Another reason to
a couple of times, man. No doubt about it.
Man, and as Daryl Johnston was saying, he wasn't chip blocking people; he was blocking the hell out of people.
Yeah.
And then you look at what happened on that play from the Colts' perspective, and they could have used Kyron Williams on that play, that's for sure. But Jared Verse, that's what happens with these really good guys that play up front. You may not notice them for 58 minutes of the game at times, but then all of a sudden, there they are making a game-changing play, or at least a really important play.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see when I watch the All 22 film. And don't worry, the film breakdown coming ASAP once that film gets dropped by the NFL, everyone. I'll be curious to see what was developing downfield and do we avoid a complete disaster there and Jared Verse saved us. I always like to see those things, right? Who was open, who wasn't, was the secondary doing his job? I'll look at that film, and I'm curious to see how that all unfolded. But, hey, great job. We get the ball back, and then on the very first play with a minute 33 left, and I was confident. I swear, Mark, I was like, you know what? Matthew Stafford's feeling it. He's got the clutch gene. He's in, what is it, top 5 all-time of fourth quarter comebacks, regular season playoffs included. I was like, I think we're going to do it. Whether it was going to be a touchdown or not, I didn't know, but I was confident we would get a field goal and Cardi maybe would have kicked like a field goal with 30 seconds left or something like that.
That would have been sweet.
I was feeling good about it. I really was. And I was like, okay, Let's do it. The Colts screwed up. They let us survive up until this point. And on the very first play, I couldn't believe it. I screamed louder than I've ever screamed watching it at TV in quite some time, based on the circumstances of this game. Holy shit. That was crazy. Tutu Atwell finally, everyone. Deep left, the corner fell, got tripped up. Tutu Atwell wide open on that deep corner route. 88-yard touchdown. No holding penalties, no illegal procedures, no illegal man downfield, none of that. I was like, finally something amazing happens where there's not some dumbass penalty ruining it. I was hype at that point, Mark. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and Tutu, I had mentioned a couple of times, just he'll make his mark. He'll have his moment. He's gonna be a difference maker like he is every 4 or 5 games, sometimes longer stretches where he's not really an impact player, and then there he is. And nobody's catching Tutu, man. Nobody's catching Tutu. So yeah, I felt as soon as he caught that ball, I knew it was a touchdown. That was really sweet and good for him. And as Sean McVay mentioned in the presser, it's not his fault necessarily that he hasn't been, that's his first catch. Is that his first catch of the year, right? And
I don't know.
I
First
think it
touchdown,
is.
obviously,
I
but
think, yeah, and is it sometimes the looks just aren't there for what the plays they have designed for him, and it's not his fault. And then this time the look was there. The cornerback falls down, and he came through.
thank God. I would have had a meltdown if there was a drop. He fell Daniel Jones style, right? Wide open to a touchdown. Or if there was some penalty on our end on offense, I would have had a meltdown and I would have been
And
mad. I mean,
remember,
obviously, you get over it, then you continue on, but I would have been so upset.
it was about a year ago. It was week 3
Yeah,
that he had the big catch against the 49ers.
that's right. I mean,
Yeah.
Tutu, $10 million worth it right there, everyone. Let's just say that. So we get that. I'm like, holy crap. Okay, defense, can you hold on? Can you hold on? Then, hey, they're completing passes, right? Again, Taylor, freaking Adonai Mitchell has a nice pass. Then they get a 5-yard penalty. I'm like, okay, back them up, back them up. And then Daniel Jones just has another bad deep pass. And Cameron freaking Curl to start the game and now to end the game. 2 INTs seals the deal, as that was a really bad deep pass, just like the first one. And we seal the deal. Yes, we run another run play to kind of burn their last timeout, but that sealed it. At that point, I was like, holy crap, what a great comeback. We survived pitiful offensive performance for a majority of that game, Mark. And a lot of Colts people, including my friend who's a Colts fan, shout out to you, Josh. You're a Colts truther for sure. It was like, yeah, Adonai Mitchell loses the game. And whether that is 1,100% true or not, there was still a lot of football to be played even after those bad moments from Adonai Mitchell, the holding, the fumbling, the celebration into the end zone. But, Colts had their chances, offense, defense. And again, Daniel Jones deserves, his blame in this for anyone out there that thinks it's just Adonai Mitchell, even though that is big moments. He threw a bad interception to start the game, and he threw a bad interception late in the game where it wasn't a 3rd and 10 or a 3rd and 15. These were like first and second down plays. So again, thank you, Adonai Mitchell, for having some bad moments, but Daniel Jones had a big part in this, and the Colts in general. They could not capitalize, and they could not put this Rams team away. And dang it, Mark, this was a gritty win. And I think this needed to happen for this team to feel good about themselves, to feel like, hey, we can play bad. And then just like our arch rivals for a hopeful Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles, we can turn it on in the clutch moments. We can play good when our best is required, right? Sean McVay always says, play your best when your best is required. And we saw that multiple times from this Rams group against, hey, a good Colts team who I think should win their division and should host a playoff game, honestly. So what a great comeback victory. And this should give the Rams so much confidence where, again, we can play like crap and still turn it on when we need to and win a ball game. I mean, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot to take away from the last 2 weeks, really. I mean, when you
Yeah.
look at what the Rams did in the first half against the Eagles and, what they did, in clutch time against at the end of the first half and then the end of the second half, clutch performances, there's a lot to be really I mean, the Rams are a top 5 or 6 team, no doubt about it, and,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna get a bye in the playoffs, and, hopefully they'll get a
Yeah.
home game or 2, but they're definitely, gotta be considered, a serious threat to win a Super Bowl right now.
And we haven't even seen them play up to their potential, which is insane. Like they've been disappointing at a lot of spots, coaching, play calling, players in general. And that's a good sign too. But it's, hey, let's not be like that all the time and give this fan base mini heart attacks for 4 quarters. It feels like, all right, Rams Nation out there, and no more heart attacks for us. I think the players should, help us out a little bit. But a fun stat before we move on to some other stats of the game. Tutu Atwell, 88-yard touchdown was the longest go-ahead scrimmage touchdown in the final 2 minutes of a game in the last 100 years. Or this century, I guess is probably the better way to say it, since the year 2000, if I read that right. But
Yeah,
regardless,
that's right.
whether I messed that stat up or not, it's been a long damn time since anything that magical has happened for any team, despite how good or not good they are. Woo! Thank God, Tutu. And some other fun stats, Rams Nation, here. As we look at the box score real quick, right? First quarter, second quarter, better for the Rams. Nothing in the third as both teams, flayed out, fizzled out, I should say. And then the clutch 14 points there. Matthew frickin' Stafford. The offense came through. The O-line protected, as we pointed out. And things went well. Thank God. As the scoring summary, right? Let's take a look at everybody. As we went through these earlier, right? Cardi again, Devontae, Nakua, Atwell. Hey, how nice is it to see your starting 3 wide receivers all catch, clutch touchdowns, Mark, and critical moments of the game. That's a nice thing to see, and thank God.
Yeah, and our defense stepped up when we needed them. And the one play, it's funny that there's nothing there on the third quarter, and
Yeah, crazy.
that was the quarter that Mitchell fumbled through the end zone. That was the biggest play of the third quarter,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it ended up with it was a big play because it ended up being a 0 on the scoreboard instead of a 7.
Yeah, thank God on that one. As we look at the player stats, or excuse me, the team stats of this. So, hey, Rams had more time of possession. That's good to see. Rams had way more first downs, 24 versus the Colts 17. That's great to see. Total yards, 462. Obviously, the 88-yarder adds a lot to that, but it happened. We'll take it. That's great to see. Matthew Stafford with 375 through the air. Fantastic. Rushing, we went over 100 yards. That's good. Probably should have been more based on how Kyron and Blake were running. That's positive. Yards per rush, 3.9. We held Jonathan Taylor to only 4 as he was averaging close to 6 or more than that throughout the year. That's a great thing to see. And then, hey, we only had the bad turnover once, right? I guess it would be that fourth and short. And then, we got the 3 on the Colts there. And then Rams only giving up 2 sacks. Should have been a lot worse, but Matthew Stafford was clutch getting rid of the football. And he looked flustered at times, Mark. I was worried. He was getting smacked around. He was getting hit, but that son of a gun Glock 9, man, kept getting up like John Wayne, as Andrew Whitworth liked to call him, right? You can't put him away. You can't put that guy down. He's always going to get up and come back gunslinging. Great to
Yeah,
see.
I think both quarterbacks really played well, at least, played decently under pressure.
Yeah.
Both quarterbacks are getting swarmed a bit. Yes, but Stafford especially. It
Yeah.
did look like the Colts were could have very easily had more sacks, but he hung in there on a few throws. He really hung in there, probably longer than I'd prefer, to be honest with you. But
Yeah. I know.
yeah, really productive day for him.
Yeah, I mean, 29 of 41, 375, 3 touchdowns, no INTs. What a bounce back game for him after, for his standards, a poor performance against the Eagles. So that was great to see as almost 400 yards. That would have been cool to see. Kyron, 13 for 77 on the ground, deserved more carries. Probably could have got over 100. Corum, 9 for 21. As some of those weren't blocked well, to be honest with you, but he looks good running to the outside. Puka Nakua, everyone. 13 for 170 and a fourth down touchdown. My God, for anyone out there who still doesn't think Nakua is top 5, and I know all Rams fans, we all agree, but anyone else out there who wants to fight that, I know Philly radio guys didn't think he was. I know some other national media guys don't think he is. I'm like, what are we talking about? The guy gets open. His only issue is red zone or scoring touchdowns, but that's more of a Sean McVay issue than a Nakua problem, in my opinion. But incredible day from him, man. 170, Mark?
Right.
Wow.
He was over 100 at halftime, and he's another guy
Crazy.
where he just doesn't get the kudos that he should, and I
Yeah.
don't know why. I mean, I think a lot of people think he's, top 7 or 8, but
Top
a lot of
5,
people,
man.
yeah, a lot of people aren't willing to label him as such though, for whatever reason.
Yeah, we're
And
dumb,
and and
honestly.
and I think seeing him play, kinda like Kyron, right? Seeing
Yeah,
him play, you have to see him play to appreciate it. It's not just the stats, the way he gets it done, is pretty special.
absolutely special. And then shout out was 1 for 88 and a touchdown. And Devontae, nothing crazy, but he had that clutch touchdown to end the half, and then he had a clutch third down catch and a clutch second and gazillion yard catch. So he's making his plays. We all would like to see him more involved, but I guess when you got your running mate going for 170, everything's fine in the world, right? And then of course, first Byron Young, our outside linebackers, coming in clutch and getting some sacks. And then hey, Daniel Jones, efficient for most of the game, made good throws, but then the two critical ones were costly. And then Tyler Warren had a rushing touchdown. It still irritates me, but he had 5 for 70. Jonathan Taylor held under 100 yards rushing. That's a great win. Obviously, the holding call really saved us when Adai Mitchell held D. Will. And then Michael Pittman held in check for the most part. He had a touchdown where Emmanuel Forbes Jr. got beat pretty gnarly, but only 5 for 41 for him. So this Rams defense, man, was put in a hole, put in a bad situation tons and tons of times with the offensive uh, group underperforming, but they made clutch plays at the right times, Mark. And then, hey, shout out to Quinn Lake with 9 total tackles, tackle for loss. Cameron Curl had 9 total tackles. Omar Spates had 7. Jared Verse had 6 in total. Nate Lamont had his 6. McCullough had 4 tackles, and those are the leading guys there. But our secondary, man, other than that Jonathan Taylor bad moment, which didn't kill us, thank God, our secondary's tackling a lot better recently, and I think that's pretty good. I think they're in the top 5 of non-missed tackle rate. So they're doing a good job not getting burned by missed tackles, Mark. And it starts with your secondary, right? Usually those guys get a bad rap for being soft, not wanting to hit. Not the case with our guys. As again, Cam Curl, Quinn Lake, 9 total tackles. They're doing a good job.
Yeah, I saw a stat just the other day where we I think we had the fewest missed tackles in the league. So,
Are we
um,
number 1 now? That's good. I know we were
yeah,
top 5. I didn't know where we
no,
stood on that, but it's a good job. And again, luckily Jonathan Taylor's scramble bulldoze run didn't kill us. That would have been a backbreaker. But thank you, Adonai Mitchell, for holding on that.
yeah.
But as some other things, I mean, how about the game balls, Mark? I mean, I think this is pretty universal amongst all Rams fans. Cameron Curl has 2 INTs to start the game and to end the game. Clutch. Puka Nacua, 170, a fourth down touchdown. That speaks for itself. Matthew Stafford almost had 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no INTs. We talked about him a ton. And then Tutu Atwell finally getting his moment. As Devontae Adams in his postgame said he wanted to cry and shed a tear. He was so happy for Tutu Atwell because he knows how hard he works. He knows how much the fan base knows that he can play. I mean, he said this. Devontae said this. He knows that the stadium knows that he can play. The fans know that Tutu can play. And then when he finally got his moment in a clutch situation, he made his most. And Devontae was, again, like on the borderline of shedding tears in a happy way for Tutu Atwell there. So that doesn't show you how close this team is. For Devontae to only be here for 4 games into his first year as a Ram, to feel that way for his teammate, to feel that way for the fan base, and just this vibe, this synergy that this Rams teams has overall, Mark, that's pretty freaking cool, man.
Yeah, and I think a play like this by Tutu gives other teams, other defenses upcoming on their schedule pause. Hey, Tutu
Yeah.
can make gigantic plays, and compare that to these Rams receivers. And I go on and on about the culture the Rams have, especially historically with their wide receivers. And then you got A.J. Brown over there with the Eagles. Once again,
releasing haikus and friggin' little poems about his frustration. I know it's crazy.
So and there's probably other guys along the defensive front, offensive front that probably had really good games, but not evident to me in the course of watching this. You'll probably discover some standout performances when you review the tape, but those are the guys that obviously stood out.
Yeah. And outside of the Rams winning, everyone, 49ers lost. Cardinals had a heartbreaking loss. And with a win on Thursday, the Rams have a chance to be in first place in the NFC West as they'll finally get a NFC West game, as it feels like every other team has played each other a couple of times already, which is kind of crazy. But hey, we can't do anything about the schedules. We can only play who is next. But who is on today's schedule? The Colts. And they cannot put us away. And our best players were at their best when their best was required. Thank freaking God. As Rams win 27-20 versus those Colts. As again, shout out to all of you who pulled up the SoFi Stadium to say, hey, screw you, Cam, from the Colts. No fake crowd noise here. And I'm glad that even our own Rams players acknowledged, hey, it was pretty loud in there today. We appreciated that. And damn, Mark, anything else before we get out of here?
No, hey, Thursday night's going to be a big one, and I think we may be catching the 49ers at a good time, but it's going to be it's always a
another
slugfest.
nail biter.
Right.
Just,
But
it can't be any other way. We can't just kick some team's ass and feel good. It's impossible. But hey.
Man, just makes this win all the more important to go into that game
Absolutely.
3-1, take some pressure off.
That's freaking right, everyone. As hey, if you're on YouTube here, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any video for the rest of this 2025 season. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only side of things, share this video, or excuse me, share this audio, share the video, share the podcast. Any of those options helps other Rams fans to see our content. And me and Mark very much appreciate it. We enjoy all you guys tuning in on every reaction, every keys of victory, every film breakdown, every rehash, round table, etc., etc., etc. And we're having a lot of fun, and we hope you guys are too. As the Rams won today, and we hope to see them win a lot more. But whether you were there at SoFi Stadium, whether you were like me screaming at my television that whole fourth quarter, whether you were in the East Coast, you're in the West Coast, no matter what planet you may be on watching Rams football, rep your Rams, rep them proud and loud. And never forget, throw the horns up. Go Rams, everyone.